Speaking of Joe Biden, a man apparently with dementia, President of the United States in 6 months' time, just as China, increasingly aggressive and hysterical, is challenging the whole world, with America about to be led by a man who can't think straight, there is one terrifying thought. Dangerous, dangerous days, people. So dangerous, in fact, that the Morrison government today prepared for trouble, prepared for more Chinese aggression, maybe even including China arresting Australians to use as hostages. Hostages to stop us from criticising China or from defending the freedoms of Hong Kong. Really, things are exactly that bad. China is being run by gangsters. A couple of days ago, the Morrison government said, warning, if you, talking to Australians, if you are going to China, watch out, you could be arrested arbitrarily. That's what it said. Meaning arrested for no reason at all. And today it's warned Australians in Hong Kong to watch out there as well, because China is tightening its grip on this former British colony. It's now forced on Hong Kong an incredibly draconian national security law that bans things like demanding democracy and freedom from Hong Kong. You can get a life sentence for that. And our government warns in today's travel advice for Hong Kong, under this law, you, Australians, could be deported or face possible transfer to mainland China for prosecution under mainland law. You may be in increased risk of detention on vaguely defined national security grounds. And as we know from its record, it does not take much for China to accuse you of being a spy and locking you up, because it wants to. Now, you might think, that's exaggerated, that's just a beat up by a government wanting to look strong, it's Reds under the bed stuff, but it's not. China has form. It's already arrested one Australian, writer Yang Hangjun, and accused him of being a spy on no evidence anyone can find. He's been in jail for a year and a half on trumped-up charges. And China also a year and a half ago arrested two Canadian businessmen, accused them too of spying in apparent reprisal for Canada arresting an executive from the Chinese-owned Huawei company. Just the other day, China's hinted, Canada should listen to the wife of one of those blokes and maybe let him go, and then we might talk about these two men. Anyway, she wanted them to Canada to let the Huawei executive go. Now, those two men are still in jail 18 months later. No lawyers, no trial, no visits from consular staff. That really is how this gangster regime works. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. In fact, the Chinese dictatorship's newspaper, the Global Times, yesterday warned Australia, stop complaining that China is cracking down on Hong Kong, and particularly stop criticising Hong Kong for breaking its promise, made solemnly, to let Hong Kong govern itself until 2047. And it warned, this newspaper, don't even think now about offering Hong Kong people a safe haven in Australia as China cracks down on Hong Kong. Do that and China will make us pay, probably cut our trade like it's cut our exports of beef and barley already. The Global Times said, anyone with knowledge of China-Australia trade could see that political provocations over the Hong Kong issue will only end up being a bitter pill for the country's economy to swallow. That's blackmail. Obvious. That's how crude it is. But the Prime Minister today defied those threats, stood up to China, offered help for the people of Hong Kong.
As a result of changes that have occurred in Hong Kong, that there will be citizens of Hong Kong who may be looking to move elsewhere, to start a new life somewhere else, to take their skills, their businesses and things that they've been running under the previous set of rules and arrangements in Hong Kong and seek that opportunity elsewhere. Australia has always been a very welcoming country to such people from all around the world.
Okay, 3 specific changes we're making. 1, Australia will no longer extradite wanted people to Hong Kong, not now that China could grab them there and over to the mainland. 2, we'll let Hong Kong students stay here for 5 years and stay for good if they have the skills. And 3, like the Prime Minister just said, we're going to offer up to 10,000 Hong Kong students and workers already in Australia safe haven visa and recruit whole companies in Hong Kong to relocate here. That's what the government's announced, and that's why it seems quite clear it's warned Australians beforehand, avoid Hong Kong, avoid China, because China will be looking to hurt us in revenge, and it will stop at nothing. That's what we're dealing with. And meanwhile, America, our big protector, looks set to vote in a new president who is out of his wits.